Adam Taxin with Daniel Greenfield, a.k.a. .com, a.k.a. Sultan Knish, whose columns can be found at sultanknish.blogspot.com. We're talking, it is August 8th, 2012 right now, and his column tonight, is the Minority Victim Value Index. Daniel, welcome, and first of all, tell us what the Minority Victim Value Index is.
Well, when people look from the outside at the entire structure of liberalism, one of the things you begin to wonder is, how do you decide priority? How do you decide which minority takes priority? If black people are opposed to homosexuality and homosexuals are opposed to Muslims and so on and so forth, when there's a conflict clash, who gets priority? So the Minority Victim Value Index determines who gets the priority, which minority comes first.
And the current number one is?
Muslims, naturally.
And why are they...
I don't think that's news to anybody who's been paying attention to the news.
Well, maybe we have some first-time fans of yours here, but why is it that Muslims are number one? They certainly haven't been victimized in the U.S. They haven't even been in the U.S. very long, as opposed to blacks or Native Americans. You give a reason in the column.
Yeah. But if you think about what the left does, the left is basically a revolutionary movement. Its goal is to overthrow the system. And so they reward those minorities which are the most disruptive, which are the most likely to overthrow the system. And these days, that's the people who are behind September 11th and a whole bunch of terrorist attacks.
So it's not really, the status is basically how fearful are they, and then they claim it's compassion, but it's really fear or intimidation.
Well, it's not so much fear. They're allying. I mean, if you look at what happened in Iran with the revolution there, the left allied with the Islamists. The Islamists eventually took over. In Egypt right now, I mean, the left allies with the Islamists overthrew Mubarak. Again, the Islamists took over. But each time the left allies with what they consider to be a violently revolutionary force. Now, at one point, this was the Black Panthers and various rioters and community organizers. Now it's Muslims.
So suffering really isn't that big a deal compared to force, potential force.
Suffering is good for propaganda. That's all that it counts for, but it doesn't actually matter. I mean, the real point here, the real goal here, is to find people who are willing to kill and blow things up.
Yeah, and Native Americans are kind of weak, even though they probably have had it worse than anyone in this country.
Yeah. And Jews, for example, people point out there are much higher hate crime rates targeting Jews, but the left doesn't care about this because they don't actually care who the hate crimes are actually committed against. What they care about is who is actually committing the hate crimes, because those are the people who threaten the system and can be useful allies.
And how does Barack Hussein Sutaro Obama, or whatever his latest name is, fit in with all of this?
Hello?
Daniel, yeah. How does Barry Obama fit in with all of this?
Well, he combines two of the favorite disruptive minorities in one package, which makes it a pretty wonderful package. And the whole war on terror made him a perfect candidate because he could sell the idea that you've got a guy who is part Muslim in some way. He's going to be the one who can turn off the violence without the use of force, but with the use of soft power.
And if you listen to Larry Sinclair, he's a member of a third group, but we won't get into that right now. Any final thoughts?
Yeah.
Will people ever wake up, or is this something that they're just going to deal with, and that the conservatives and I guess especially Rhino and Country Club Republicans are just going to keep falling for and be defenseless against?
Well, one of the things I try to do is really expose the thinking and the patterns behind what the left is doing, which is different from the official statements or their official policies. So this is part of it. This is part of understanding why the left thinks the way it does and why it does do things the way it does.
Any other final thoughts?
This is the code behind the system.
Any other final thoughts, things I might have missed that people listening should know about?
Yeah, this is effectively comprises a caste system. It's a complete perversion of the United States Constitution. It's a complete perversion of everything that America stands for. And that's really what the left represents. It's not anti-racist, it is racist. Its goal is to create a caste system.
Daniel Greenfield, thanks as always.